Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Hello and welcome to this video. I'm glad everyone is here. Glad everyone can make it back. Hope everyone's enjoying life. Staying cool if you're living somewhere where it's hot, and if you're living somewhere that's cold, hopefully you're staying warm. So we are continuing with Black Tapes Season 1. Episode 4, Turn That Frown Upside Down.
And that's exactly what I did. Kind of. After the break.
Yeah, the browser fraudable, as soon as I started it, the little app within the browser, it had started at the very beginning of the episode, so I'm guessing where we left off, kind of. So still pretty good music.
Fortunately, Mrs. Reinhardt, she was the librarian before me, transferred every single copy of the Charlesworth Register to microfiche.
Now that was not a small task. When I was a teenager, junior high school, is when microfiche was a thing. It was a big thing. So I'm not real clear on how things were transposed from hard copy to EDB and microfiche. If someone knows, put it down in the comments below. I have a feeling that it's some kind of photographic negative type thing, so not sure, because I don't remember any microfiche when I had to do research in the library and stuff, either at school, at Carpers Cove High School, or at the library, the public library, or the library at Central Texas College. So,
What was the date again?
That's Rosemary Wilkins, head librarian at the Charlesworth Public Library and the unofficial town historian. Her mother went to school with both Benning and Williams, although Rosemary says her mother was never really close with either of them.
yeah, it's one of those ones. Yes, we went to high school together, but we weren't, as they say, chummy.
Here it is. Stayed on the front page for over a week. In a town this size, it was the talk for quite a while, as you can imagine. It must have been awful. It's awful.
Hell, this is Huntsville. They're still talking about murders and people coming up missing from the 90s, the early 90s. So, it is what it is.
All awful. That's what makes this festival of... Can't even say the name of it. It's more than tacky.
Creepy, gruesome, grotesque, obscene. Capitalist.
The whole thing is just plain cruel.
To Catherine's family.
To everyone.
To everyone in the whole fucking town.
The Bennings lost a daughter too, but we all forget that. She was obviously a very sick girl who needed help. But back in those days, there was no such thing.
Hell, we're in 2014, and in America, we still don't have decent mental health protections and treatments.
Everyone just thought she was a monster.
Yeah, and, well, in some cases, people are just monsters. Your Bundys of the world. Your Ed Geins. Your Sirhans. Your Unibombers,
So I take it you won't be partaking in the festivities?
Not me. No. I guess some of the newer business owners like it, but those of us with deep roots here, well, We don't like to think about what happened.
I imagine in a town like that, the older people would have, the closer you are living to the event, the more creepy you're going to find it.
In a big city like Seattle, something like this is a blip. Do you know how many murders have happened in Charlesworth since 1957?
I'm guessing 0.
None?
None.
If you don't mind, I'd love it if you could sort something out for me.
Yeah, this is either where you make friends or enemies.
I'll do my best.
Okay, so most people agree that the town legend involves a ghost.
Yes, it does. And the audio just locked up. We'll figure out what's going on and restart here in a minute. Okay, we're back. It looks like dropped my wireless internet connection for a second there, and it kind of bleeped out on me. So we're good to go. Let's see what this does.
I'll do my best.
Okay, so most people agree that the town legend involves a ghost. Some say it's Catherine Williams, others say it's Sarah Benning. And I'm not saying that you believe in any of this stuff, but who do you think it is? Catherine or Sarah? Or perhaps the better question is, who do you think it's supposed to be?
If you ask...
Yeah, people will get... This will be where you either make friends with the locals or you make enemies out of the locals. That's just the way that question's going to go.
It's Wilson Pepper who started this whole thing. It's Catherine Williams. That made sense to him, so that's the story that he told. But those of us who lived here back then, we know the truth.
Yes, you do.
And what's the truth?
It's Sarah Benning.
Okay.
Yeah, when they drop, when they're it's Sarah Benning. You know, you're crossing into some pretty kind of obscene, not really obscene, just some very treacherous country. You got to be really, really careful where you step.
And you're mistaken about one thing.
Oh?
It's not a ghost.
Yeah, this is when things get really, really weird. I have a feeling...
It's Sarah Benning herself. Or at least that's what they say.
Yeah, it's Sarah Benning herself. Or at least that's what they say. That never bodes well.
Sarah Benning herself?
Nobody told you about the graves?
Somebody actually did tell me about the graves. Kind of. It turns out Strand had texted me right after I left the library. He had been doing some digging of his own. Figuratively, not literally.
I love the fact that they feel it necessary to point that out.
He was waiting for me at the sheriff's office when I arrived.
Charlesworth is the safest place in eastern Washington. Always was. Except for that one day back in 1957.
That's Sheriff Boyd Osenga. I don't
That's a really cool sounding name, by the way.
know why I was expecting an older man, but Osenga is young, maybe 40. He was in primary school when Wilson Pepper launched the festival. But he knew the town's history, every resident's name, first and last.
Yeah, that's a small town. There are people in Huntsville when I moved here in 90 that were like that. They could tell you just about all the old families, who married who, all the way back to Sam Houston. I imagine that within the context of the founding, the McNeeses, the McCoys, the Houstons, the McCaffertys, all those families, they probably got people in those families that can still to this day go all the way back to Sam Houston, if not to this being part of Old Mexico.
He and Strand were drinking whiskey together like old friends when I arrived. I don't know why, But Charlesworth is the type of town where you want the sheriff drinking whiskey during the day. Not a lot. Maybe just one. Right around 4 p.m.
They build it.
That's just very, very quaint. That's something you expect to find in Texas or in the South.
Is the place to move your family, where everyone knows their neighbors. No crime, no problems, just peace and quiet. The Williams murder in 1957, well, that kind of darkness changes everything. It's like all the bad things that should have happened over the regular course of a town's history saved itself for that one day in 1957.
Yeah, have you ever noticed though that sometimes it feels like you'll go 3, 4, 5 months smooth sailing, nothing out of the ordinary, then you'll have a day or two of just pure catching up hell. Just, we're gonna get you. You had 3, 4 months really good time. We're gonna catch up on the bullshit in the next 24 to 48 hours. Peace.
At the Charlesworth High School prom.
I'm sure you're familiar with the myths surrounding the case.
The Benning girl comes back to get her revenge on the families of them folks who bullied her. Yeah. Feels like it'd never go away.
Yeah, that's just how it goes sometimes, I guess.
So right there, I noticed you said the Benning girl and not the ghost of the Benning girl.
Ghost, zombie, whatever you want to call it. When the dead are disturbed like that, people get to talking.
Grave robbing?
Groundskeeper at the cemetery found Sarah Benning's grave all dug up. Nothing left of her remains.
Yeah, definitely grave robbing there. Yeah, we'll have to deal with the grave robbers and all kinds of weirdos.
Oh, wow.
Turns out Benning's wasn't the only grave desecrated.
Catherine Williams?
That's right,
They took her body as well.
not her body. Just her face.
Yeah, that's kind of creepy.
Okay, that's disgusting.
Well, the thing is black tapes is what? Early 2000s, 2010s? Would there realistically be anything left of her face? You know, past 5, 6 years after burial.
I'm just kidding. They took her body too.
Yeah, asshole cop.
Of course, half the town thought it was Wilson Pepper behind the whole thing. He'd been trying to get his crazy festival off the ground, and it wasn't really catching on with the locals, as you can imagine.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But after the grave robbings and all the brand new ghost sightings, well, it was a boon to Pepper's business.
So they said they saw the ghost of Catherine Williams?
Sure. Or Sarah Benning.
Some people said they saw Catherine Williams, others Sarah Benning.
There were various reports. A lot of sightings.
Of those two girls specifically?
That's right.
That's kind of interesting to see how it goes. I wonder if they're like in some kind of ethereal, or if it was just, you know, like looking in a mirror, looking at somebody across the room, or how that went.
But how did they know what the girls looked like? It was 30 years earlier.
I dug up some copies of the local paper from the 80s. Turns out Wilson Pepper, who we know was having a hard time getting his festival off the ground, put the Benning story back in the paper.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one way to do it.
Front page, both girls' pictures. He owned the paper, so that really wasn't a problem.
So I assume
Yeah, I guess if you own the news media, you can put what you want in it.
your predecessor investigated Wilson Pepper?
Of course. But Pepper had a strong alibi. He wasn't even in town that week. He was at some leadership seminar for the Eastern Washington Business Association.
I wonder if they checked to see if he had any cronies do it.
So what do you think happened?
What do I think? I think Pepper got some people obsessed with the Williams murder all over again. And some Nut jobs desecrated a cemetery to make it look like the ghost stories were true.
Yeah, that jives. That seems to work well.
What are you smiling about?
What?
Thank you for your time, Sheriff.
He sent a copy of the recording away for analysis, but Strand didn't think he was going to find anything technically wrong with the video of Fiona de Nevers. Was it just a young woman having a heart attack? Who was the strange figure in the video, and why didn't they stick around to help? Did Wilson Pepper hire somebody to dig up 2 graves just to launch the most ridiculous and creepy festival in Washington?
We will have to wait to the next episode to find out, or the next video I do to find out. Almost said episode, but we'll find out this episode, but it will be in the next video. So, until then, take care. Be a good human. Be good to other humans. Peace.
Hey, it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?